What kind of manager tells a kid to clock out early because she smiles too much? Silas O'Connor had kept his voice low, but the words still hung in the air like smoke. He was sitting in the back booth of a fast food place he technically owned, but today, he was just another tired-looking guy in a wrinkled polo, khakis, and a baseball cap pulled low. No clipboard, no assistant, no limo out front. He looked like someone's uncle who didn't know how to scan a QR code. 15 stores. That's what his father left him when he passed 3 years ago. Silas had been 35 and barely finished grieving when the board pushed the keys into his hand. He kept the company going, even growing it slowly. But lately, numbers had dipped in 3 of the locations, and one store 11 had more employee complaints than all the others combined. Silas had tried the usual: meetings, reports, even sending the district manager. But the answers were always vague. So he decided to do what his dad used to do before things got corporate: go see for himself. He chose store 11. The location was near a high school, always busy after 3, and was supposed to be managed by a woman named Carla. He'd never met her. She was hired during expansion and had only interacted with HR and the district manager. That made this easier. He told head office he was taking a week off. Then he walked into store 11 as Sam, a freelance writer working on a side project about fast food culture. He entered with a tray of fries and a coffee, sat in the far booth, and just watched. That's when he first noticed her. The girl looked no older than 17. Curly brown hair tied back in a high puff, apron slightly too big, name tag Crooked Riley. But she moved like she'd been working there 10 years. Every customer got a smile, every order double-checked. At one point, he saw her casually clean a spill while answering a customer's question and restocking napkins. Then she got pulled to the back. He couldn't hear what was said, but the way Carla leaned in mouth tight, arms crossed, wasn't friendly. Riley nodded, stepped out front, and clocked out. Silas watched her grab her coat, stuffing a half-eaten sandwich into her bag. Still smiling. She walked past his booth, paused, then backed up. "You didn't get the spicy ranch," she said, pointing kindly to his tray. "It's free, just ask for it. Makes the fries way better. Trust me." He blinked. "You off work?" Riley shrugged. "Yeah. Manager says I'm too chatty. I was just trying to make the line go faster." Silas glanced toward the counter. Carla was now chatting with another employee, laughing. "You seem like you know this place pretty well," he said. Riley sat across from him without asking. "Honestly, I should. Been working here since last summer. I've trained more people than the assistant manager." He smiled. "You train people?" "Unofficially." She leaned forward, whispering, "Don't tell Carla, but I've got a system. Want to hear it?" He nodded, pretending to sip his coffee. "First, always know the regulars. Mr. Gordon comes in every Tuesday. He's diabetic, so I always check the sugar-free ketchup stocked. Second, don't wait for someone to tell you what to do. See a mess? Clean it. See a line? Jump on register. Third, and this one's key: if a customer is angry, act like they're your grandma." Silas chuckled. "Why your grandma?" "Because she's old, blunt, and always right, even when she's wrong." "You ever think of being a manager?" She laughed. Carla would never allow that. She only promotes people who don't challenge her. That's why turnover's so high. Don't get me wrong, some of the crew are awesome. But Carla? She's all about control. Silas leaned back, eyebrows raised. "Interesting. You know," Riley said, standing, "you'd be a good mystery shopper. You ask smart questions." He watched her walk out the door, backpack bouncing. That night, Silas checked the store's employee records. Riley Newman, 17. Part-time. No write-ups. No promotions. No raises. The next morning, he showed up again. Ordered a sandwich and fries. Riley wasn't working, but Carla was. He got in line. As she handed him his receipt, she glanced at him. "You were here yesterday."
Yeah.
The girl Riley gave me some tips. Real helpful. Carla rolled her eyes. Yeah, Riley's a little too helpful sometimes. Thinks she runs the place. She seemed good at her job. She's a teenager, Carla said flatly. They all think they're geniuses these days. Let me guess, she told you about her systems? He nodded. She's not management material. Always chatting, always in someone's business. I've been running this store for 5 years. I know who's reliable. Silas let that sit for a second. How's turnover here? Carla narrowed her eyes. Are you writing a Yelp review or something? He smiled. Just curious. That afternoon, he sat in his car and made a few calls. Asked the HR team to send him Riley's full work history. Then he called the district manager, asked about Carla's hiring. No red flags. But a pattern started showing. Every few months, a wave of employees quit. The ones who stayed, mostly quiet, never promoted. The ones who spoke up, hours cut.
He came back 2 more times that week.
Each time, he watched Riley help customers, help coworkers, and then get sent home early. Carla never once praised her. On Friday, he saw Riley outside during her break, sitting on the curb with a soda. He walked up. You know, if you ran this place, I bet people would actually want to stay. She looked up, surprised. You again. He smiled. I like your systems. Mind if I ask you something? She shrugged. Sure. If you could fix this place, make it better for the team, what would you do? Riley sat up straighter. You mean for real? He nodded. First, I'd make sure we had enough people scheduled so no one was stuck doing 3 jobs. Then I'd actually listen when someone had an idea, not just nod and ignore them. And I'd promote from within. People work harder when they know there's a path up. Silas looked at her carefully. You're really passionate about this.
She grinned.
It's just a job. But if you're going to do something, do it right?
He stood.
Thanks for the talk, Riley. I think you're going to be running a place like this someday. She laughed. Not unless someone upstairs wakes up. He walked away slowly, hands in his pockets. She didn't know it yet, but someone upstairs already had. Saturday morning arrived with a heavy overcast sky, and the first thing Silas noticed when he stepped into the store was how quiet it felt, too quiet for a weekend shift. The usual buzz of conversation and clatter behind the counter was stripped down to the bare minimum. 3 employees worked the front, 1 on the register, 1 at the prep station, and a 3rd trying to juggle drive-through and restocking cups at the same time. No, Riley. He ordered a coffee and took a seat near the trash bins to stay out of the way. The girl at the register, maybe 16, trying her best, was already flustered, apologizing to customers every other order. The guy on food prep moved like he hadn't slept. Every few minutes, Carla's voice cut through the tension from the back office, barking orders without stepping out. Silas didn't see her face until a man in a flannel hoodie complained that his sandwich was missing half the toppings. Carla walked out, took 1 look at the tray, and tossed the sandwich into the trash can without a word. She turned to the prep guy. You get paid to read, right? Lettuce is printed right there. Do I need to draw pictures for you next time? The kid didn't respond, just nodded, picked up another bun, and started again. Silas watched the customer walk away with his new sandwich, shaking his head. By 11:30, the line stretched out the door. Still no sign of reinforcements. The girl at the register's hands were shaking. When Silas saw her turn to grab napkins and the customer in front of her say, hello, 3 times, he stood up and approached the counter. Need a hand? She looked startled. I'm sorry, we're just short today. Real short. You always run Saturdays with 3 people? She hesitated.
No.
We're supposed to have 5. But 2 called out and Carla said she's not covering shifts anymore. Said we need to figure it out. Silas glanced toward the office door. Still closed. All right, he said. You keep the line moving. I'll run napkins and condiments. She blinked. Wait, are you? Just helping. He was already moving before she could ask more questions. He grabbed an extra apron from the supply shelf, tied it over his polo, and started working the floor. He restocked lids, wiped down tables, and ran trays out to customers who looked ready to leave. It wasn't glamorous, but it kept things from falling apart. A few customers even smiled. Around noon, Riley walked in, her backpack slung over one shoulder, already tying her apron as she passed the counter. She noticed him almost immediately. "You're still here?" "Looks like it." She glanced at the line, then at the girl behind the register. "Where's Jacob?" "He was supposed to open." He called out, the girl said without looking up. Riley turned to Silas. "You really just jumped in. Seemed like you could use it." She didn't respond right away. Then she dropped her bag behind the counter and stepped into position like it was second nature. "I'll take drive-through. You do runner." Done. With Riley back, things moved faster. She multitasked like someone twice her age, calling out changes over her shoulder while handling headsets and assembling orders. Customers got their food.
People stopped complaining.
No one had to ask what to do. Riley just did it and people followed. At one point, Carla finally emerged from the office. She walked past Silas without acknowledging him, stood near the coffee station, and scanned the floor like she was inspecting a battlefield. "Why are you on the floor again?" she said to Riley. "Because we're 3 people short," Riley replied, not turning around. "You were scheduled for 2. You don't get overtime." "I clocked in late. Just helping." Carla leaned in. "You're not a shift lead. You don't get to assign yourself." "I didn't. I just stepped in when no one else did." Carla's jaw tightened, but she didn't argue. She turned to Silas.
"And you?"
"Who are you exactly?" "Just here to observe," he said calmly. "Learning how things really work." She narrowed her eyes but said nothing. Instead, she turned and walked back to the office, the door swinging shut behind her. By 2 in the afternoon, the store finally caught up. The lunch rush had passed, and the new afternoon shift started to trickle in. A tall kid named Mason arrived, followed by a quiet girl with earbuds still dangling from her neck. Riley handed off the headset, clocked out, and walked over to Silas, who was wiping down tables. "You ever think about working here for real?" she asked. "I've worked in places like this before," he said. "A long time ago." "Then you already know. It's not the job that's hard. It's the way people treat each other." He looked at her. "Carla give you trouble often?" Riley shrugged. "She doesn't yell. Not in the way you think. It's more like she makes you feel like you're in the way, even when you're doing her job for her." "What keeps you here?" She hesitated. "My brother's saving for college. I pick up shifts so Mom can keep her hours at the hospital. I'm not trying to be a hero, but if I can cover groceries for a week, it helps." Silas nodded slowly. "That's a lot of weight to carry." "You do what you have to," she said. "Besides, I like the team. Well, most of them. We hold each other up." He left that day with more than he expected. Carla didn't just fail to support her team, she avoided responsibility altogether. And Riley, despite being treated like excess labor, was the only reason the store hadn't collapsed. That night, Silas requested the store's camera footage for the past 2 weeks. He watched hours of Riley stepping in to cover shifts no one claimed. He saw Carla disappear into the back during peak hours. He noted how often new hires quit within 2 weeks. And he noticed the same pattern every time. Riley filled the gaps. No title, no raise,
No recognición.
On Monday, he returned not undercover this time. He walked through the front door in a tailored blazer with no name tag, and Carla's eyes went wide when she saw him. She stepped out from behind the counter, all traces of indifference gone. "Mr. O'Connor. I wasn't expecting, I know. I didn't want you to." Riley, who had just clocked in, froze mid-step. Her gaze darted between them. "You two know each other?" Carla opened her mouth, but Silas raised a hand. Riley, can you stay a few minutes after your shift? I'd like to talk to you. She nodded slowly. Silas turned back to Carla. Let's step into your office. The door closed behind them. Carla straightened her posture. I didn't realize you were conducting inspections directly now. I would if you didn't need to, Silas said. I've seen enough. She blinked. Sir, I assure you, I run this store by the book. You run it with fear and neglect. Your turnover rate is the highest in the district. Your schedule violates basic labor expectations. You refuse to approve shift coverage and deny overtime for employees who are bailing out your poor planning. Carla's voice dropped. With respect, these kids aren't reliable. Riley is more reliable than any salaried employee I've seen this month. Carla stayed silent. I'm pulling you from this store immediately, Silas said. You'll report to corporate for reassignment review. Effective today. You're demoting me? I'm holding you accountable. When he left the office, Riley was wiping down the counter, avoiding eye contact. Silas walked up. You okay staying a little longer?
She nodded, silent.
Let's talk. For the first time in months, Riley didn't rush to clock out. She stood near the mop sink, apron still on, watching the last of the lunch crowd thin out. The floor was sticky. The prep station hadn't been restocked, and the kid on drive-thru kept glancing toward the back, clearly hoping someone would take over soon. But Silas was already waiting by the side door. He didn't wear the baseball cap today. No apron. No tray. Just a plain gray jacket and an expression that made it clear this wasn't a casual conversation. Thanks for sticking around, he said, walking with her to the small table near the dry storage. Riley pulled out a chair, then paused, looking back toward the front. We're short again. Mason's supposed to be on prep, but he's covering drive-thru. You sure this won't take long? I'll keep it short, he said, but what we talk about might change a few things. She sat down slowly, arms crossed over her apron, unsure whether to brace herself or lean in. I owe you an apology, Silas said. I should have stepped in sooner. You didn't do anything wrong. I did, he said plainly. I let this place run without knowing what it had turned into. I trusted reports and numbers. I didn't ask the right questions. Riley didn't speak. She just watched him, waiting. I went undercover because I wanted to see how people were really treated. And the truth is, you've been holding this place together on your own. That's not true. It is, he said. I have the footage. I've read the schedules. I've seen how often you've filled in without being asked, how many shifts you've stepped into without any thanks. No one should have to carry that much weight without support. She took a slow breath, then looked down at the table. Are you firing me?
No, he said.
I'm promoting you. Her head snapped up. I'm serious. I can't fix everything overnight, but I can start where it counts. You've been doing the job of a shift lead without the title or pay. That ends today. I'm 17. You're more capable than half the salaried staff I've met this year. She blinked, stunned. You want to give me keys? Schedule authority. There are training steps we'll follow, he said. But yes, I want you in a position to lead, officially. You've already earned it. Riley looked away for a second, like she didn't trust the moment. What about Carla? She's not coming back to this store, he said. She'll go through a review with corporate. What happens after that is up to her. And the others? The ones who cover shifts last minute? Who get told to clock out early if labor's too high? I've ordered a full payroll audit, he said. Everyone will be paid retroactively for any unapproved hour cuts. We're also rehiring at least 2 crew members to fill the gaps. No more skeleton crews. Riley leaned back, processing. I'm not asking for a promotion because I want power, she said. I just want people to stop walking out after their 3rd shift. I know, Silas said. That's exactly why you're the right person for it. She looked at him again, more carefully this time. You're not what I expected. How so? I thought the guy at the top would be some corporate type with a Bluetooth in his ear. You actually listened. Only because you spoke, he said. Most people don't. Or they gave up trying. She laughed just once. It wasn't joyful, but it was honest. I don't know everything, she said. I've never managed a schedule or done inventory. I've never even done a performance review.
We'll train you, he said.
Starting with the mentor. You'll shadow one of our best GMs from another store.
2 weekends.
After that, we'll reevaluate. And my school schedule? You'll stay part-time, Silas said. No pressure to go full-time unless you want to. This is about giving you the tools, not burying you in hours. She looked down at her hands. They were red from handling fry baskets all morning. I don't want to let the crew down, she said. You haven't yet. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Riley stood, untying her apron. I don't even know what to tell my mom. Tell her the company finally noticed what she already knew. She folded the apron in half and tucked it under her arm. When do I start shadowing? Next Saturday. You'll meet with Maria at the Westgate location. That store runs like clockwork because she trains people like clockwork. She'll teach you the pieces you haven't seen yet. Riley nodded slowly. Okay. And Riley. She looked up. You're not filling in anymore. You're building something. She didn't reply. Just gave a small, tired nod and walked back toward the front to help Mason break down the prep station. Silas stayed at the table for a few more minutes, jotting down names on a folded receipt. He listed every employee who had picked up extra shifts over the last 3 months. Every one of them would get a bonus this quarter. Nothing flashy, just enough to show they were seen. He stood, walked toward the counter, and waved to Mason. Get that prep tray cleaned and take your break. She's got it. Mason looked at Riley, who nodded. When Silas reached the door, Riley was already back behind the line, sleeves rolled up, giving instructions to the new trainee on how to label saucepans. He didn't interrupt, just walked out into the cold afternoon air, already dialing his operations lead. I want a meeting with all district managers, he said. End of the week.
No exceptions.
What's the agenda? We're rewriting what leadership means in this company. He hung up before they could ask more. That night, he sent a direct email to every general manager in the region.
No PR filters. No assistants.
Just his own words. He told them about Riley, about what it meant to lead from the floor, about the difference between enforcing rules and building people. The subject line was simple. You can't fix what you don't see. He didn't expect everyone to reply, but by midnight, his inbox held 13 responses. Some defensive, some apologetic, most quiet. Only one stood out. A manager from the East Side store wrote back just 3 words. I have a Riley. Silas leaned back in his chair. That's where the change would start. Not from policies. From people. From the ones who showed up early, stayed late, and got ignored. He clicked send. Then he opened the payroll dashboard and typed in a new role, shift lead trainee part-time. Under initial assignment, he wrote one name, Riley Newman. The following Saturday, Riley stood outside the Westgate location 10 minutes before opening, holding a clipboard tighter than she needed to. The morning air was sharp, and her breath fogged as she watched the interior lights flick on. Inside, a woman in her late 40s with a tightly braided bun moved swiftly behind the counter, checking timers and adjusting temperature dials with the precision of someone who didn't guess, she verified. Maria Aguilar had been running Westgate for over a decade. Her store had the lowest turnover and highest customer satisfaction in the region. Silas had chosen her deliberately not because she was soft, but because she was honest. If someone wasn't ready, she'd say it to their face. When Riley stepped through the door, Maria glanced up briefly, then nodded toward the back without breaking stride. Aprons on the hook. Hairnets in the box. You clocked in yet? Just about to.
Good.
We open in 8. Line forms by 10 after. Riley slipped past without a word. The next 8 hours weren't a test, they were an education. Maria didn't slow down for explanations. She assigned, observed, and corrected. When Riley portioned sauces too early, Maria made her redo the batch. When she rang up a combo without verifying modifiers, Maria flagged it and made her adjust the order mid-rush. At one point, Riley stepped aside to reprint a receipt, but Maria called her out from across the kitchen. "Don't step off the line unless something's on fire," she said. "Handle it where you are." By the end of the shift, Riley's feet ached and her shirt clung to her back. But her notes were full, her eyes sharper. She hadn't just learned how to manage a shift, she'd learned how to see the floor the way a leader does, not as chaos, but as patterns. As she untied her apron near the walk-in cooler, Maria leaned against the wall beside her, arms crossed. "You don't ask a lot of questions. I've been trying to watch first. That's smart. But don't wait too long to speak up. Quiet managers miss things loud ones catch." "I'll remember that." Maria tilted her head. "You're not going to be like the last 3 they sent me, are you?" "What happened to them?" "One froze when a fryer alarm went off. One left halfway through a Saturday shift. The third tried to reschedule me."
Me.
Riley didn't laugh. She just nodded. "I'm not going anywhere." Maria pushed off the wall and clapped her on the shoulder, firm but not unkind.
Good.
"Come back next weekend. We'll see if you're still standing." Over the next 2 weeks, Silas quietly implemented the changes he'd promised. Payroll adjustments were processed without announcement, just quiet deposits landing in employee accounts. Loyalty bonuses appeared modest, but fair for those who'd picked up extra shifts during peak weeks. 2 new hires joined Store 11, both former employees who'd quit under Carla's schedule. Silas didn't return to the store immediately. He wanted the dust to settle. Instead, he reviewed daily timesheets and customer feedback remotely. The early signs were encouraging. Average ticket time was improving, employee logins were more consistent, and for the first time in months, no one had clocked out early without explanation. When he finally returned 3 weeks later, it was on a rainy Thursday afternoon. The store wasn't spotless, but it was calmer. The register line moved at a steady clip, and the prep station was coordinated. He stepped inside, nodded to the boy cleaning the drink station, and stood near the back as a customer. Riley was at the front, headset slung low around her neck, giving instructions to a new hire about how to handle split orders. Her posture was different now, more upright, but not stiff. She didn't bark orders. She checked, confirmed, then moved on. The rest of the crew mirrored her rhythm. When she spotted Silas, she didn't call out or wave. She finished her task, handed off the headset, and walked over. "Didn't think you'd show up on a Thursday. I wanted to see how things look with a 3-week lens instead of a 3-hour one." She gestured to the corner booth near the window. He followed her there. "Prep's at 90% today," she said. "Still trying to get Mason to stop over-salting the fries, but he's improving. We've got 1 new hire still in onboarding. She's sharp. Picks things up fast." "What's her name?"
Ellie.
"She's the first one who asked for a second training day instead of trying to get out early." Silas leaned forward slightly. "How's the team responding to the changes?" "They're still waiting for someone to take it away. Like it's temporary." "And you?" "I'm trying to make it feel permanent." He nodded, then pulled a small envelope from his coat. "This is your next step." She opened it cautiously. Inside was a letter not printed, but written in blue ink. It outlined her transition from shift lead trainee to part-time assistant manager in 90 days, contingent on continued performance. The bottom had Silas's signature and Maria's initials. Riley looked up slowly. "This was fast." "You earned it before we wrote it down," he said. "We're just catching up." She folded the letter and slid it into her pocket. "I'm still not sure everyone's comfortable with it." "They don't need to be," he said. "They need to see you do the work. That's what earns trust." A pause settled between them. "You know," Riley said after a moment, "when I first saw you in that booth, I figured you were someone's dad writing a blog post about customer service. I was. I just happened to sign the paychecks too. She smiled, genuinely this time. Most people in your position don't come down here. They send surveys. Surveys don't see who restocks the ice bin when no one's looking. He stood, adjusting his jacket. I'll be visiting other locations soon. Quietly.
No fanfare.
Just watching. You looking for more Rileys? I'm looking for people who care without being asked to. She held out her hand. He shook it. As he stepped toward the door, a customer dropped their drink near the condiment station. Before the sound of the cup hitting the floor had fully registered, Riley was already moving, grabbing a towel, nodding to the register employee to stall the next order.
No hesitation.
No orders barked. Just action, absorbed and distributed like clockwork. Silas stepped outside into the gray afternoon, pulled up his collar, and walked toward his car. Inside the store, no one paused. No one celebrated. The work continued. And that was the point. The company wouldn't change because of a single memo or a dramatic announcement. It would change because people like Riley were finally being given the space and the authority to lead. And this time, the people upstairs were watching.